Hey there, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton. It is 1:18 in the morning. So if you are watching this first off and it's not 1:18 in the morning, just look for my latest live feed because I'm going to be doing these throughout the morning, probably every half hour to every hour. And so I don't want you to be looking at non-live information. If you don't see the live at the beginning of the screen, it's a replay. You need to go back on my meteorologist page, meteorologist Jamie Singleton or Jamie Singleton, and see the very latest. Okay, so I would advise you to scroll through my Twitter feeds, and my Facebook feeds as well. Let's get right to it. We've got some information already coming through to tell you about. Excuse me, as I still wake up a little bit this morning. We've got the satellite's kind of gone a little wacko here because we're at that night where we get that miniature eclipse from the data because of the position of the satellite. So I'll turn that off. But you can see a big line here of heavier rain pushing right through the Franklin County area. Had some gusty winds here at the TV station not too long ago. We were gusting up with around 30 miles per hour with this. This has developed well out ahead of the main system, and so the timing I told you would be around 2 a.m. It's about an hour or two ahead of schedule. There's still more activity off here to the west that has yet to move through. It will be interesting to see if more will develop out behind here, and probably it will. But this batch really impressed me how it moved through, and you can see here on the radar imagery. You've got it concentrated right through Franklin County, Smith Mountain Lake, and Bedford. You're about to get some very, very heavy rain on top of what you're getting already. Some areas are nearing in on an inch of rain already. And looking at this, we're also going to see some flooding issues out there because I can tell you, with all that rain coming, if we just get that at the very worst, very least case scenario, we would be getting some flooding this morning. Overnight tonight, it's still 1:20 in the morning, so depending on what your view of the day is. But luckily, I think with COVID-19, everyone's staying at home. It was Easter yesterday, a lot of people working from home. But this is going to be one of those days where you don't need to be out on the roadways at all, this morning at least. And you just need the shelter in place, and take the shelter. Now, we've got a special weather statement out. And we just got a mesoscale precip discussion issued there. You see that. Well, you can't see it yet. It's at the top of the screen by the Weather Prediction Center. So I'll read that to you here in just a second. But this is where the heaviest of rain is right now. And again, it's in the line now from Bedford down through the eastern Franklin County area over Smith Mountain Lake. Now within this, just got a report of a tree down, by the way, in Boone. Within this, we've got some pretty gusty winds there as well. You can follow this line on down through Rocky Mount and Franklin County. We've had some lightning, so these are thunderstorms, and they're taking on more of a strong characteristic here, as you see them kind of pulsating up there, going into Henry County. So Martinsville, hunker down here over the next few minutes. By around 1:30, 1:40, you're going to be getting in on some of this as well. And then behind that, you've got just a ton of heavy rain. And the thing is, this is also bringing down those strong winds that we were talking about. So I'm going to put this into motion so you can get an idea of where it's going and where it's been. I'll show you the lightning data here in just a second as well. There it is in motion. You can see that line is strengthening. And whenever you see the clearing out behind it, that's an indication too that the line is strengthening because it's eating up some of that moisture. So it's already a serious situation. I do expect a warning to come out soon with this. We already have a special weather statement in effect for that area, and that includes this area in tan. You can see that goes up to Big Island through Bedford, and this is a special weather statement. It's just shy of a severe thunderstorm warning. It's the lowest tier that they'll put out, the National Weather Service, until they put out the severe thunderstorm warning. We've also got another special weather statement excuse me, in effect for the Sparta Mount Airy area, actually just west of Mount Airy. So I'm going to read you these special weather statements. You can see there are a couple of lightning strikes there coming out of Philpott Lake over Ferrystone. There's a couple of more near Rocky Mount within the past few minutes here just as I was setting up to come on the air. So this is a special weather statement for Franklin County and Bedford County, Henry County, down toward Stokes County and Patrick County. A line of strong storms and a few thunderstorms will affect Stokes, Henry, Central Bedford, Eastern Patrick, and Franklin counties, including the city of Martinsville. At 1:02, which was about 20 minutes ago, radar indicated the strong showers and a few thunderstorms located along the line extending from northwest Smith Mountain Lake down to Philpott Dam to King. There you see it there. Movement was northeast at 75 miles an hour. I'm showing movement of 85 miles per hour on my radar system here. You plot a certain part of the storm and it'll interpolate that for you. Now we've got the most up-to-date image up. You can see how we've had a lightning jump here through Smith Mountain Lake. Some very intense weather now over Smith Mountain Lake. Let me read you again the special weather statement with this. Winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, locally heavy rainfall with rates at 2 to 4 inches per hour. So some of you are going to get some flooding now. Locations impacted include Martinsville, Bedford, Rocky Mount, Danbury, Ferrum, Big Island, and Moneta. Right now I can tell you that the threat with this, it does include Rocky Mount and Redwood where I'm at right now, but really here going into Westlake, Moneta is getting hit very hard with this already. Southern Bedford County down to Union Hall and Pinhook. That also extends down through Oak Level, Stanleytown, and Spencer. You've got some very gusty winds, some extremely heavy rainfall moving through with this storm. So it's a dangerous storm. It's a line. The storm system is just now beginning to move on in, and this one's not playing around this early in the morning. I mentioned it wouldn't take long after the time this starts to set up for us to see issues out there, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So you need to hunker down and be advised that the winds are going to be pretty strong here in the next little bit. I'm going to pull up my radar scope here. We're going to investigate some of the wind that's out there on the velocity product. And we'll go to Super Res Velocity. And we're going to measure here. So we'll turn on our inspector, and then as you go through, this radar beam is going to get a little bit higher, so it's going to pick up a lot of this very strong wind aloft. As I mentioned, around 5,000 feet, the winds are blowing at near hurricane force, if not a little bit above right now. You've got wind speeds within this showing up about 34 to maybe 40 miles per hour. Going away from the radar, you can see the blues here around Mount Airy. This is where the beam is about 7,000 feet up or so, and it's picking up those 60 to 75 mile per hour winds that are just off the surface. So any heavier rain that you see right there, that line, is bringing down those gusty winds there as well. Let's go to real-time lightning and show you what the storm is doing on WSV3. And I've got the velocity up here. Let me switch back over to the reflectivity. We're also going to show you the rainfall rates, I believe, here. There is the storm. It's a line of several storms, actually. And you can, again, see it now going through Bedford County. As we get and you scan, you'll see that live on your screen as well. As the lightning begins to show up and flash, you will also see that take place within 15 seconds with this latest technology. That special weather statement, by the way, probably has already auto-posted to my Twitter feed and to my Facebook feed there as well. Rainfall rates with this, as I mentioned, let's watch this latest scan come right in. You can see a lightning strike there near the Bedford area already. And again, it's moving in closer to Bedford, Highway 43, 221. This is a not rotating, but it's more of a straight line wind threat right now. But these straight line winds, again, are going to do some damage as well throughout the night. Smith Mountain Lake getting hit. There went a lightning strike as we go just now east of Ferrum. And as this line moves east, that's not it. So like right now, Roanoke is in the clear for this one line. Stewart's in the clear, but it's only for that one line. We still have a lot of storminess off here to the west. You can see that right now through Atlanta and through Tennessee. And as I mentioned overnight or yesterday, the storm system that's out here is going to go north into the Great Lakes. And we're going to see the wind from the south continue to increase as that happens. So you can see the lightning is starting to really increase here on the screen, especially over the northern neck of Smith Mountain Lake, just as you get east on 122, again out toward the Moneta area. And between Moneta and Bedford, I would not want to be on 122 right now. It's not a good stretch of road for me anyway, between Smith Mountain Lake and Bedford. And then as you go north of Bedford, don't want to forget folks in Glasgow and Lexington, you're getting a lot of rain. And in Lynchburg, here's a heads up for you. This line won't take long to get to you. It's moving, again, at up to 70 miles per hour. Let me see if I have any more special weather statement information. Not really, but I do have that cluster of lightning that's showing up really well there. Near the Bedford area. You can see that near Moneta. Here's the base velocity, and some of these winds out behind this are registering at about 60 miles per hour, but that's at about 3,100 feet. That's still not very high off the ground behind this in Bedford, so there could be some strong damaging wind gusts in this thing. Rainfall rates are also very impressive. Let me go to that. We'll put on the precipitation rate. Let me take off this for a second. This may take a second to load, but there we go. So we're talking also about the flash flood potential here, and within this we have rainfall rates of 4.1 inches per hour. Just around the Bedford area, it's raining at 2.7 inches per hour, and this won't last an hour, but it gives you an idea of just how much it's raining out there. 3.2 inches per hour in and around the Bassett area. That continues on down to Danbury, so in North Carolina. Very, very strong rainfall rates, or heavy rainfall rates, showing up there. I'm going through my different products here. Just give me 1 second here. We've got quite a bit of low-level shear. This is going to plot here in just a second. I don't know how easy it's going to be to read, but we'll go ahead and pop that on. There's a look at the low-level shear. You can see that we've got a couple of tracks out there that I've been watching. A few storm reports too. 53 mile per hour wind gust near Beckley. And down to the west, this is what's heading our way. In Kentucky, you've got non-thunderstorm wind damage. These are straight line winds that are coming through that area as well. And then as you move on out here, you can see the tornado watch that's going up for Asheville and that area. We do have a mesoscale precip discussion, and I know that sounds really complicated, but let me go here to the Weather Prediction Center and show you what they are watching out of the WPC, as we call it. What they do is they monitor areas outside of severe storms. The SPC guy has the severe thunderstorms. The WPC may cover like a storm system and its other facets there as well. Flash flooding likely with totals near 2 inches expected in this area. I know it's hard to read, but that's western North Carolina right up against Grayson County through East Tennessee, going down through the Smoky Mountains and extending down across northern Georgia and Alabama. And I'm going to read this with you here. I'm going to pop the window up over here actually so you can see the radar, and I will be reading this statement from the WPC here. Intense thunderstorms are organizing the portions of the deep south southern Appalachians capable of producing hourly totals in excess of 2 inches per hour. We just talked about we're up to 4 inches per hour around Bedford, and you can see some added lightning strikes now coming out of the northern neck of Smith Mountain Lake. So you've got that stronger cell right now north of Alta Vista, and that's heading towards Evington, Alta Vista, and Lynchburg. So watch out for some very strong winds of this and some very heavy rainfall. Through 6Z, which is the next little bit here, localized totals of 4 to 5 inches will be possible. This is more likely in Georgia, southern Tennessee, and southwest North Carolina, where it's already been raining. Rapidly cooling cloud tops, that means a strengthening system, deep convection, strong storms, very strong mid-level shortwave, we know that. Very impressive low-level flow, surging warm, moist air northward. Dew point here in Redwood is 60. That's very moist. It's expected to go up to about 65 tonight. 70-degree dew points down to the south. 850 millibar winds in excess of 50 to 70 knots. Across Mississippi, Alabama, the surge is also evident by the rapid increase northward push of precipitable water. So This was as of the evening hours. I don't know why it just came across the line here. But anyway, it's the concern for flash flooding, and that's obvious with the heavier rainfall that we're seeing here. So this is pushing off toward Lynchburg. Again, we've got Rocky Mount and the Martinsville. Looks like it's training a little bit in Henry County, and that's not good news because you'll add up really quickly here as you go into Henry County and Martinsville. And now we have a flash flood warning in effect that has just been issued. Let me take a look at that. Slide my laptop over here. Flash flood warning for Smith County. Also got a report out of Wilkes County, North Carolina, a thunderstorm wind damage, tree down, 900 block of Old US 421. Now, western Smith County, now we've got a flash flood warning in effect there. So let me take you over there. And there it is from Saltville down to Marion. This is where it continues just raining really hard. And again, a lot of areas are still going to just have flooding from this system. You may not see the tornadoes, you may see flooding. So that's just as important. We've got that flash flooding effect for northwest Smith County until 7:30 a.m. So they've issued it for 6 hours. At 1:31, about 3 minutes ago, a Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Up to 3 inches of rain have already fallen, up to 3 inches already from Chilhowie up to Saltville. Flooding of small streams, urban areas, highways, streets, underpasses, poor drainage areas, Saltville, Chilhowie, Corey, Allison Gap, Broadford, and Adwolf. Additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 inches are possible in the warned area, so they're saying up to the 6 inches possible here in Smith County. Be especially cautious at night. Obviously, it's nighttime. You can't see if you're out there traveling. I don't think a lot of people are, but some people, like the healthcare workers, have to, you have to work and go into work or whatever. So that's especially a dangerous situation at night because water can get up very fast. So you can be swept away. Riverbanks and culverts can become unstable and unsafe. And what they're hinting at there is mudslides, rock slides there into western Smith County. Looking at some of the storm reports here too out of far southwest Virginia, tree limbs broken down in Dickinson County. Tree limbs heard snapping in Clintwood. This is going to happen here. We're going to have those straight line winds, I think, continue to increase. These are gradient winds that are coming out ahead of the or embedded around the storms themselves. 46 to 43 miles per hour here, 41. Power lines and phone lines blown down in eastern Kentucky. Pikeville, numerous large healthy hardwoods blown over. Tree limbs down. So you've got so many reports here. 55 mile per hour winds, 1 inch tree limbs broken, shingles blown off. This is from far southwest Virginia. So we're in this area here west of Wytheville, but this is the wind that's going to be heading this way. And here is a new special weather statement. We've got strong showers extending from Sedalia to Smith Mountain Lake State Park to near Sontag to near Penn's Store. Movement northeast at 50, winds in excess of 40 miles per hour. Pea-sized hail now, they're saying, National Weather Service, and rainfall rates of 2 to 5 inches per hour are possible with these storms. And you've got the lightning there. Again, I mentioned Lynchburg. Look how fast these things are moving. This is already moving into the Lynchburg area. Now, again, this main line isn't going to be it. We're going to see more development out here as we go throughout the morning. Now it's in southern Franklin County, going through about Smith Mountain Lake State Park to about the dam. And then as you go down toward Martinsville and Spencer, just pouring down rain from Stanleytown on 220 from Oak Level into Stanleytown. Yet to really get into Martinsville just yet to get into Ridgeway. But you can see that line continues there. And then you've got more heavy rainfall in bands showing up here as well. I'm looking at a product that shows me very heavy rainfall. And this is one of the new radar features that has been implemented within the past few years. A lot of studies being done. This shows the potential for those 4 to 5 inch rainfall amounts. When you get into the colors that are showing up there in blue and green, this is extremely heavy rainfall, and it indicates very efficient rainfall rates, basically. So if you go through Bedford County, again, this is the area that's going to see some flooding, if not already, and into eastern Franklin County seeing some flooding as well. We already have, since midnight, 0.99 inches of rain in Redwood. But again, some of these areas are going to end up with about 3 or 4 inches just from this band alone, because we can see within that red reflectivity that sometimes can mean more rain. We can look inside that and tell you the rainfall rates judging by the degree of the droplets that the radar is picking up, the amount of change between scans that it's increasing. And honestly, it's a bit above my head, but I do know that when it shows up like that, that is extremely heavy rainfall. Now we're looking at the wind. Again, I want to see if there looks like mainly a straight line wind threat with this, but again, I'm showing some echoes here. Some returns coming in between 30 and 60 miles per hour, especially with this part of the storm going through Good and Timberlake, going through Lynchburg. So straight line winds upwards of 60 miles per hour, and there may be a severe thunderstorm warning out soon for this area, but you can see where the National Weather Service has gone ahead with the special weather statement for this area. So these are going to, again, auto post on my Facebook page, and just to let you know, at some point, Facebook will likely say, talk to the hand on the auto posting. It'll detect that it's not me posting, even though it's life-saving information. They'll probably limit how much of that auto posting can happen, but I'll continue to manually post in between as I get the information. We've got another special weather statement that just came out, so just bear with me here. I want to go to the latest image too on the radar here. This is the Weather Lab radar. And there you see that line. So it's moving now in the Alta Vista, Gretna, and Chatham, where it will be very soon. Pennsylvania County will be next up with this. I want to read the special weather statement that's just come out as well. That may be that one right there. That may be what I just saw on my feed. Let me see. Let me check Twitter here. A strong thunderstorm will affect eastern Pulaski, southwestern Floyd, northeastern Carroll, Patrick, and western Montgomery counties in the city of Radford. At 1:38, we've got a series of thunderstorms. It's for these storms right here. They're putting that out for. This is a special weather statement for Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Radford, Hillsville, Stewart, Indian Valley. Winds in excess of 30 miles per hour. This is moving north, though, at 55 miles per hour. So there are some strong winds in this as well. And you can see just off the radar picture here, we go into the blues. That's winds of about 50 miles per hour. Not all of that is getting to the ground just yet, but these are expected to become more numerous, the storms here. And I'm going to wait on the special weather statement polygon to come up here before I send it back to regularly scheduled programming, which would be me putting out some graphics and posts too for you to share around, so you don't have to look at the video. That's for the New River Valley area, right, for this area right here. I'm going to look at some of my geeky parameters here, because I do need to do that from time to time. So just give me a second here. The red lines, that's theta E, but when you see a ridge like that, when you see that curvature, and basically it's a surge of moisture and heat, and what it does is it tells us, this meteorologist, where's the most moisture and heat content at in the atmosphere, and you can see that extending out of western North Carolina. Also, and it's below my mug here, let me go to this view. And I want to, that's me. Let's see, where's the, looking for the actual screen. Hold on one second. You came at computers in Roanoke. There it is. I've got that locked, so I want to be able to move it. There we go. So right above the Seal Tight logo, and by the way, thanks to our sponsors, Computers in Roanoke and Seal Tight Basement waterproofing system. Great sponsor to have right now too, by the way. Through Asheville, you can see I've got values of 10 showing up. This is not the tornado parameter, this is the supercell parameter, but it still indicates the potential for stronger supercells now coming out of western North Carolina. So as the moisture comes in with some of these storms, and we got a little bit of a supercell parameter now showing up where the special weather statement just came out for in the Floyd County and southern Pulaski County. This is an indication that the wind shear and the thunderstorm dynamics are indeed coming together in a way that is a bit concerning in terms of the potential for severe weather in addition to all the flooding that we've got out there. Let me get rid of this. There we go. This is the current overall look at the supercell parameter. I believe that's what that is, supercell composite. And you can see that's enhanced here over western Kentucky and extreme southwest Virginia. Now again, in this area, power lines have been snapped, trees have been snapped, not from a tornado, from straight line winds. And in many areas, this may be just a straight line wind damage event, but there's going to be power coming out, falling out as this moves closer into our area, and there will be wind damage there as well. And I would treat any thunderstorm warning or special, well, I wouldn't, not a special weather statement, but any thunderstorm warning as a tornado warning, because the winds are going to be just as strong as a tornado in some of these regular thunderstorms that we see. They will be particularly windy, some of the windier storms you've ever seen. And they may be blowing at a straight line, but it's still going to have the potential to blow out windows and send debris into the air. So you want to get into your safe place. And hopefully by now you've made the decision to be in the area that's in the safe zone. Probably underground would be the best thing, or an interior room. I would just go ahead and just be there, because there's going to be multiple warnings coming in tonight. I'm looking at the moisture in the air. We've got it up to 1.4 inches of precipitable water. That's intense. You can see up to about 1.6 down here, 1.7, and these are vectors. So the longer the arrow, the stronger the wind, and this is the wind. So the lighter winds are up here. You can see them coming out of the south, and very, very strong. I'm looking at the winds 5,000 feet off the ground now. The little bit of a bending back from the south to more of a south-southeast here as this trough kind of lifts through. You can see all that. The shaded areas in purple are above, and this is again at 5,000 feet, but 60, 70, 80 miles or 80 knots. Getting it on 80 to 90 miles per hour aloft. That's incredible. This is a low-level jet that's feeding all of that heavier rainfall. And these different parameters are proven to correlate with flash flooding. So when we see this, we're looking at the Theta E ridge again across western Virginia. We're looking at that strong moisture surge. I'm just looking at this with you here. I want to also look at wind shear, and you can see just an incredible amount of wind shear over the area to work with these thunderstorms at various levels. That's the 6 kilometers. This is going up a little bit more to 8 kilometers. Bulk shear, 70 knots, which is off the charts high. And the helicity values, this is an indication where we could see spinning of the air, and that has increased. I believe I've also got, I don't know what that effective inflow base means. I really don't. But I do know that these values that you see off here around 300 or 400 are not good. So our helicity is starting to go up, especially in western North Carolina. Is where it's beginning to go up. It's also going up in western West Virginia down through far southwest Virginia, where we've had some wind damage already. Surface-based CAPE is non-existent so far. We don't have the energy, the instability at the surface just yet, but that is expected to go up. In fact, if I put this in motion here, the modeling suggesting over the next 4 to 6 hours, this goes up to around almost up to 1,000. We may not need a lot of CAPE. 1,000's modest CAPE, but we have a lot of wind shear to work with as well. Moisture convergence. I believe that's all I need to show you here. Let me look at the jet stream real fast. This is a loft. A lot of divergence there showing up in purple, more divergence, and that lifts the air and creates a lot of rainfall. Let's go back to the radar, show you the big picture here. And you can see again, we've got that very strong line going into to Lynchburg, and then the western Smith counties under the flash flood warning, and then you've got more storminess out here. Don't think that this is it, because the actual upper level disturbance is still way off to the west here. I'll put the water vapor imagery on. That's the infrared satellite picture, and you can see if I remove the radar, you get an idea of the nature of the storm system, right? Let me put up the water vapor imagery, so that you can see we've got the drier air showing up in yellow. This is the moist air, obviously, in green is very high amount of moisture in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That's coming in right out of the south of this. And then we'll put it into motion. You can see watch the swirl and notice the direction it's going. It's not going east, it's going to the north. That is going to slow the progression of the moisture that's moving in now. So whereas last night and yesterday you were noticing the storms that broke out across Louisiana and Tennessee and Louisiana and even Alabama, they had some movement to them. They were moving very fast. Our storms are going to slow down as this system becomes more negatively tilted and follows these contours here. So let me overlay the jet stream for you, and you can see that there's your short wave. Again, it's moving more to the north and northeast, which again just tells you by physics, if you take that to the north, it's going to stretch out that rainfall right there, and that lift that's occurring out ahead of that. So I wanted to show you that. That's the bigger picture here, and I'll put the radar back up. You can see that we've got 9 inches of snow in Wisconsin. So a lot going on. I'll tell you what, I'm going to sign off for right now. I'm going to be back on at probably in a real quick hurry, probably at 2 o'clock. I'm going to try to get more on pace here. I'm going to put out a couple of posts, and I'll be right back.